What's up, y'all? Naturegirl 30 here, and this is another review of Girl Meets World with Girl Meets Money. Now, there was a lot that went into this that I don't remember from the synopsis that I read before, but it sounds like Disney just wanted to play it safe and just talk about money and what it can do for you, or what it can do to you if you depend on it too much. The funny thing is that they were talking about how Minkus is not really around because of how he's investing so much in his company and he rarely sees Farkle. But the thing is that the main synopsis before it was all changed was that Farkle lost all of his money and he pretty much was going to lose his wife due to him losing his money, and that Topanga and Corey were actually going to help Farkle out, while Maya was going to help Farkle out in his time of need. The fact that his family was falling apart. Now, I would have actually appreciated that episode being like that, seeing what money can possibly do to you and how people actually do see it. And knowing the history of Farkle's wife, I'm not Farkle's wife, but Minkus's wife, seeing, and for those that actually do remember her, and I barely remember her from the episode when she was really dominating towards Sean. She was actually Sean's girlfriend at the time in high school, and she was a very dominating woman. But the fact of the matter is, it would have been great if they actually did stick to that and not play it safe. I know that divorce is a very difficult topic to talk about around children, and especially around kids and how they feel about it when it does happen, whether it's for money, whether it's for other things. I just wish they were able to talk about that topic and not skirt away from it. Because, like I said, Boy Meets World was all about talking about what happened during those times. And they were it was very dramatic, and it really did express what was going on during that era, and a lot of kids were able to relate to it, and I was one of them because I watched it as a teen growing up. But I really wish they were able to stick to that topic and not play it safe. But since they did go the safe route and they decided to talk about what money can do to you as well as for you, I will admit I do agree with how it ended. I do. Maya has the biggest growth amongst its entire show, and that's kind of sad because it's Girl Meets World, and Girl Meets World is supposed to be, well, you think it's centered around Riley, but it really isn't. It's more of a growth story for Maya, but it just seems like that Riley didn't really learn much. But nothing really changed her, but she still she still was open her eyes to it. Things were open to her from a few perspectives, and as well as the fact that there are people out there that are living amongst their means, and also talking about how that Corey was a teacher and he wasn't getting paid as much as Topanga, but it wasn't so much of what they were getting paid, it was what they were doing it for. Now, the one thing I love what Topanga said is that, just because that your father makes less than me doesn't mean that he has less value, which is very much true. He has a very, very, very important job. And she's right about that. Without teachers, you wouldn't be able to have lawyers because you need to be taught to be a lawyer. But in the end, the one thing that made me sad was it really didn't show Farkle that he shouldn't be ashamed of what he has. That what he has was something that was earned by his dad and from his company, and even though he doesn't know much about it, he shouldn't be afraid or ashamed of what he has. He should be happy about who he is. There's nothing wrong with having money, people. It's all about how you use it and how you view it. If you view it as a savior, then yeah, it's going to consume you. But if you actually do spread the blessings around, then you're able to see so much more. And I wish they expressed that more with him than they did with the others. It was more of a growth story for Maya than it was for the rest of the crew. As usual, Lucas was just the hot guy that just stayed the way he was. And Riley did have a little bit of growth there, but it was also more growth for Maya because we absolutely had a chance to see how she lives. And yeah, she is right. When you have money, you're able to get things fixed. You're able to go and move to a better place, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to spread the blessing around when you're able to afford it, that's also good too. I just wish they actually did show Farkle that he shouldn't be afraid or ashamed of who he is, as well as how much money his dad has or what he's going to inherit, but just show what you can do with it to actually be a blessing towards others. I wish they expressed that a little bit more with Farkle. And also, we didn't see the mom in this episode. We didn't see Zay in this episode. But we're supposed to see Zay in the next episode. Girl Meets Communism. And something sounds familiar about that. I'm wondering if we've already seen that episode, but I can't remember if we had or not. But it's But all I know is that these important episodes should include not only the main four, but also Zay that was supposed to be included in the fold. Because, guys, we're leading down to the main finale of season 2. And the season finale of season 2 is going to be Girl Meets Legacy, and that's going to be in March. And we have 2 more episodes in February, and one episode that's starting off after this one is going to be Girl Meets Communism, which is going to have Zay. I just feel like Zay is being left out of this whole thing, and it just seems like that he's not really being involved in the main four's storylines. But honestly, if he's not going to be there in high school, at least give him a few more episodes to, I don't know, to make him feel like he's part of the rest, because he actually does have some value. But like I said, guys, this really wasn't a bad episode. It had a really great premise towards the end, and also the fact that they had a Shark Tank episode kind of with Mark Cuban made it interesting too. And Mark Cuban actually did have some valuable points, even though they're like, cure malaria and solve world hunger and world peace, which is great attributes and great way of thinking, great ideas, but it's a little bit more dynamic than that. You just can't have a bunch of money and all of a sudden cure stuff. You have to have an idea that actually works, an idea that has not only merit, but also a strong foundation with it. So I kind of agree with what Mark Cuban said, and it was a great way to end the show. But I really wish they did bring the mom in this and kind of, because it doesn't feel like it's over. It just felt like they just put, oh no, it's just too much. We're just going to put a band-aid over this and just cover this whole thing up and not talk about it. But the thing is, the whole thing about Boy Meets World is that they touched on topics that really did, that was in the mind of teens at the time, and especially divorce. And divorce is never a good thing to talk about. And I know Disney is a happy company, but they have learned to take risks lately with a lot of franchises they purchased over the years. So why can't they do it with this one? They really should have touched on this topic, because it just seems like it's left open, and I'm not really sure if we're going to even see the mom after this. But other than that, guys, it was kind of a letdown not to really get into the grittiness of the show. Because it's nice to be happy and everything, but let's be realistic here. We live in a very realistic world. You can't really sugarcoat anything as much as you used to. And it would have been nice to touch on something that a lot of kids go through, divorce. And to show that even if it does go through, then it's not that person's fault. It's not the kid's fault. It just happens. Mom and daddy don't love each other anymore, but it's not that we don't love you. We just don't love each other. But we'll always love you. That's one thing that we agree on. And I hope that they actually did touch on that, but they didn't. That was the only letdown in the show. But other than that, guys, it really wasn't a bad show. And even though they took that part out, it was great how they actually did come up with a good ending. And the fact that Farkle wants to invest in Maya really shows me that there's going to be a lot more growth to her moving on to high school. And I hope that they actually do move away from this love triangle premise, because it's only so far it can go, and plus there's so much more potential with these girls. There really is. And seeing how that we got it's a possibility of having a little bit more feminism injected in this, I don't really see the love triangle going that far. That's just my opinion of it. But guys, I want to hear your thoughts about Girl Meets Money. Do you like how the episode ended? Do you think they should not have taken out the whole Farkle's family splitting up angle and should have been more realistic with it? How'd you like the Shark Tank part? I'm really curious to hear what your thoughts are about this show. Leave a comment in the comment section below, or if you want to, send a video response. I'm curious to see the faces of those that leave comments on my channel. But other than that, guys, that is it for me. And stay tuned to February. I believe February 12th is going to be Girl Meets Communism, unless they change the date for that. And we have 2 more episodes in February before the big finale in March, leading on to season 3. So guys, that is it for me. Naturegirl 30 signing off. Peace out, y'all. Later.